Hey guys, how the hell are you? Welcome back once again to Arnold Drinks. My name is Arnold, and tonight I drink. So I thought we would change things up a little bit for today's episode. Instead of doing just craft versions of Oktoberfest beers or an actual traditional fest beer or Marzen from Germany, I thought, hey, you know what? Let's go a little macro. The dirty word in the beer world these days, macro beer. But look, if a beer is good, it doesn't really matter where it comes from. Don't get me wrong, we want to support craft breweries, we want to support independent breweries, but ultimately, if you can find a macro beer that is really hitting the sweet spot with you, kudos to you, and good for you for drinking macro beer with an intention other than just trying to get shit-faced. And hopefully that's what I've got here today. I say hopefully, like I haven't already killed off most of this six-pack. But this is Yuengling Oktoberfest, classic Marzen style, it says on here, seasonal beer. It is a 5.4% alcohol by volume. And yeah, let's just dive right in and let's see if this can stack up next to the more traditional stuff or even some of the craft stuff that we've had this year. So right from the word go, you get a kiss of sweetness on the aroma, but there's some weird note that's in there, at least aroma-wise. Something that's a little bit different. Almost a little... Nope, that's not my hands. I was gonna say, it smells a little fleshy, like a little clammy, like when your hands get a little sweaty or something. So that's why I smelled my hands right there. I was like, what am I smelling there? Am I smelling the beer? Am I smelling the glass? Am I smelling my hands? No, that's the beer. That is definitely the beer itself. It's interesting. It's not my favorite aroma at all. Well, let's see how it tastes. Taste-wise, that's great. Despite the fact that this may be, I think, the lowest ABV of any of these Oktoberfest beers that I'm having this year, this does have a richness to it. It's definitely got the richest color out of anything that we've drunk so far this year. It's just a little bit more reddish in terms of hue, but definitely has a sort of autumn feel to it, a little kiss of spice, a little bit heavier body in terms of how it drinks, but at the same time the sweetness is there, although in this case, because of the fact that it's a little heavier body than the ABV would suggest, I would say that this sweetness is a little bit more like velvety, like it definitely has a lingering mouthfeel to it. Let's go back in. Speaking of which, I read a comment on a video at some point, I think it was on my main channel, where some guy was, I guess he was upset that someone would actually enjoy beer because he got real hung up on the fact that I used the word mouthfeel to describe the beer that I was enjoying, but it's a term that we use. I mean, mouthfeel is a real thing, and if you don't think it's a real thing, if you drink beer that you're like, okay, that's bullshit, why are we talking about the mouthfeel, well, then you probably drink shit beer, because good beer does tend to have a sort of lingering effect like that. And this definitely has a unique mouthfeel to it. Sorry for going off on a rant. More about this beer. It definitely does have a sweetness to it, like a little bit of like a dry, crusty bread kind of note that's lingering back there. Ever so slight dryness. It's not super dry like the 512 was, but it is definitely there. This is probably like the thickest mouthfeel out of any of the Oktoberfest that I've had so far. So this one, not just the color, but if I do a blind with this one, it would probably stick out in terms of the overall flavor. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, tons more of this content to come. And as always, remember, take what you do seriously, do not take yourselves too seriously.